So this video is part 3 of turning this jacket into this bear. What I've done is I have clipped around all the edges of 2 matching leg pieces, and so what I need to do is stitch round here all the way down to the bottom and back again, and then from here down to the bottom and back again, making sure to leave the bottom because that's where the paw pad will be inserted. Make a bit of space for me to start here. Right, I've started on the inside. Should have done it on the outside. Should I risk it? I think I'm just going to sew all the way around and see what happens. Maybe do the second one on the other side. This may prove wrong, but hey ho. Okay, so that looks, let me turn that off so you can see. So it looks pretty good from the front, well, from the inside. Not too bad from the back. I will just go over this a bit more so it looks, yeah, we can make sure that doesn't fray too much. So I will do the second one from this side. Okay, caught up a few threads there, but that shouldn't matter. Okay, so that's looking better. I've scooped that in a bit more there. Looks okay from the back as well. So we'll just do this bit. Okay, so I will do some overcasting and I will pin in the paw pads, or the paw pad. Okay, so I've overcast all around the edge, and then I have I used a pin to find the middle point of the top and the bottom, and then I've put the clips on so I can start the overcasting around the edge of the foot pad, and then I can do my hand stitching to stitch the foot pad onto the rest of the leg. I've also used some of this fray stop just because it is still fraying quite a lot, and I wasn't sure if the overcasting would completely stop that, so I've just put a bit of fray stop around the edges just to make it a bit easier to work with while I'm stitching the foot pad on. So I have overcast around the foot pad. I've overcast all the way around the edges. I think I should have just done it from the start really, but I've also used that a bit of that fray stop around the edges as well. We'll do a double whammy to try and keep the fraying to a minimum. So you can see that I've done the paw pad of the other foot. I kind of just wanted to mess around and see how it was going to work first, before sort of showing you how I did it, because this one was actually quite a lot messier. So I have finished sewing around the paw pad. I had some problems with the sewing machine. It's just not playing ball. I'm not sure why. I'm going to have a look at that tomorrow. But I just did one side on the sewing machine and then I hand stitched the other side because it was only about an inch that needed stitching and I'd got fed up with the sewing machine. So I've put fray stop around the edge as well. But one thing I wasn't sure about is I wasn't sure how it's supposed to look on this side. It looks a bit messy. So I'm hoping when it's stuffed that it'll look okay, because again, I wasn't sure how the stitching is supposed to go at this point. I have briefly turned it inside out and it looks okay, so I'm hoping it looks okay when stuffed. So let's turn it back out and then I'll just tell you what I've done with the jointing. Okay, so this is how the paw pad looks. I don't think it's perfect, but I'm hoping it'll look, you know, a bit more even when it's stuffed, and that this bit will be okay. We will find out. Also, there was a little frayed bit here at the top. I did just put a bit of fray stop on it because I didn't really know what else to do, because I think I don't know whether it's got caught on something or what really, but that seems to have helped anyway. And you can't really feel it. And then in terms of the jointing, I've just put this on the outside, that's not attached in any way. So basically, I've got smaller joints for the arms than for the legs. I'm not sure they're supposed to be that different. In fact, I don't know if they've sent me the wrong one or what, because I think it was supposed to be 40 and 50, but that looks considerably different. But never mind, it's what we've got. So let's have a look. So basically what I did is I used some clear craft glue, and so Lisa suggested wooden discs, and I thought I was ordering wooden discs, but it turns out they're hardboard. So I decided that it would be smoother if I used the smooth side. So I put some glue on. I'd put the screw facing inwards so that it would help to put it into the fabric and guide it onto the screw to hold it in the right place, so that then I could move the screw and put it inside. So that's what I did. Pressed it carefully, and then to kind of keep it firm while it dried, I used this. Unfortunately, some of the glue did seep through on one of them. So what I did is I used just a piece of plastic, so that hopefully I will be able to get these undone. But yeah, anyway, so that if the glue seeps a little bit, it's not going to go all over the disc and kind of seep into the disc, which is what happened before. So yeah, so basically the next step is to stuff the limbs, and then we can put the joints into the body. And I think I need to make the holes a bit stronger in the body. So I need to stuff these and then stitch them up. So this is the stuffing I'm going to be using. I've had it for a while, and yeah, so hopefully that will be enough. I don't know, we will find out. Might have to get some more. So I've started filling some of the limbs. I've made the paws fairly firm, maybe not quite as firm as hers, because I didn't want to, it's a difficult balance to not overstretch, but I'm quite pleased with how it's looking. I've used a wool felting needle just to squash the stuffing in so that I can sew that up later. Not exactly sure how that's going to go, but cross that bridge when we get to it. So this is one I've started filling. So Lisa suggested kind of filling it to sort of here and then using the felting needle, but I'm a bit too nervous about doing that because this fabric frays really easily, and I just think I'm going to stab through the fabric. So I'll do it when I can sort of gently do it like this, but I'm not comfortable doing it that far down. So I'm just kind of pushing with my fingers to try and get the right shape. I think I like that shape. And I'm making sort of the top part quite firm and the middle part a bit firmer than maybe the paw pad. So let's fill the rest. So I've filled sort of to the bottom, I've done a little bit on the top. So I'm just getting sort of smallish pieces and pushing them in, and then when they're sort of, I've got enough in that area, I'm kind of trying to really pack it down but keep the nice shape of the limb. It takes actually quite a long time. You think, oh, you'll be able to fill it in a few minutes, but actually it takes quite a long time, and it gets a little bit lumpy sometimes, so you have to sort of really try and smooth it down as you're going, because you don't want it to be lumpy and then you be up here with the stuffing and not really be able to get back down to smooth it. So I'm trying to do a bit at the top and a bit at the bottom, and then have them meet. And I guess I want to sort of keep comparing, make sure they look sort of similar. I think those paw pads are fairly similar. Okay, so we're getting there. Still feels a bit soft here, but so I'll probably pack that a bit more because I think it's a bit firmer and a bit above and a bit below. Maybe the same on this arm. A little bit more in there. Pack it in a little bit more. Okay, we'll use the wool felting needle a bit. I'll put a little bit more in. Okay, that's pretty firm. I think once that's pulled together as well, it'll hold a better shape. I might start stitching it together and then decide whether it probably does need a tiny bit more in, but I can always start stitching it together and then add a little bit more if I think there's a bit of a gap. Okay, so probably time to sew those two up, and then I've done the same with that first leg. I think that's going to be quite a nice shape once that's sewn up, and I've got to do the same with this leg as well. So I'll show you what they look like once they have been done. The other thing I've worked out is actually I don't like these washers very much, because you put them on temporarily and then they get stuck and it's quite difficult to get them off because they're just square. It's not so easy to sort of use a tool really. So I would recommend your sort of normal, what are they, hexagonal, octagonal, not sure, but the normal shaped nuts, not washers. And I need to put a washer on when I put it inside as well. So the disc, the washer, I'll show that in a later part of the video. So that is how I've been doing the stuffing. Hopefully that is correct, but quite pleased with how they look, especially as it's the first time I've made a bear, so fingers crossed they carry on going okay. When I was gluing in the discs for the joints, it is quite hairy when you're putting glue on something and then trying to slide it in and get it over a bolt. So yeah, I think that's probably one of the hardest parts actually of the making the bear, is trying not to get glue on everything, but maybe that's just a me thing, I'm not sure. So I've now finished stuffing the limbs, and I have closed up the seam at the back. It was, yeah, they're not perfect, but I think this fabric helps you get away with it a bit because it's got the sort of mottled bits if it's not entirely straight. and you can still see a little bit of the black stitching. I think I can just about get away with it, but they're fairly firm. I think if I was doing this again, I might do the black zigzag stitching in more like a grey, and then if it does show a little bit, it's not going to be as obvious. So what I've done is I put the placement in of one of the legs, so I'm going to probably do that with all of them. So at the moment I've just put the wooden disc in, and then just a tiny bit of one of the washers just to hold it so it doesn't fall out. Not washers, the nuts. I did want to change these nuts, but I think it's going to be a bit tricky to get the exact same size, to be honest. I kind of want to get on with it, but I need to get a washer to go underneath the nut on the inside. Also, you might be wondering why they've got the bolts on the inside coming from the outside. It's basically because when I was making the holes, as soon as I'd made the holes, turned it inside out, you couldn't tell where the holes were, and they were basically closing up again because of the fabric. So I made the hole on the inside and put the bolt through, and then just added the nut to hold it. So then I know exactly where the holes are, and they're not going to close up, you know, as quickly. So when I'm ready, I can take the leg joint, take the bolt out, and quickly, you know, put this bolt through from the other side. So I wanted to make it a little bit easier to explain how I've done the jointing for this bear without having to try and show you inside the bear, which is a bit difficult to show. So I'm going to imagine that these scraps of fabric are the inside. So this would make the inside of the legs. That's the wrong side and the right side, and the wrong side and the right side of the body. Okay. So what I've done is on the inside of the leg, the wrong side of the inside of the leg, which is a bit complicated to say, I've glued on the smooth side of one of my discs, and then I've put a bolt through the hole. So that's glued on. That's the right side of the fabric, and then I've put it through the body part of the fabric, so it's on the inside. And then I haven't put glue on this because it didn't say to put glue on the inside. I've put the smooth side of the other disc, and I've managed to find these little tiny washers. I knew I had some washers somewhere, so I've put that on, and then I'm not going to screw this on completely because it'll get stuck, but I've screwed on this small nut, screwed that all the way down as much as I can, and I'm going to use some tweezers or something to screw it on further. The difficulty is actually there's nothing really to stop this bolt turning, so I think it might be good to actually glue the bolt in place. But what Lisa does is once this washer's screwed all the way down, she adds a drop of super glue, so it goes into the grooves in the bolt to help keep it. And she tightens it so that it's difficult to turn the joint because it will loosen off, particularly after stuffing, she says. So then you've got, you know, the limb and the body, and you've got this nice moving joint. So I hope that helps to show how I've done that. At the moment I'm waiting for the super glue to arrive, so I can't actually stuff the body until I've finished doing the joints. So here I am at the end of this video. I've finished the limbs and I've got the body, which is still baggy, waiting to have the glue added and to be stuffed. So in the next video I'm going to be stitching together these head pieces, and I also need to stitch together the ears ready to go on as well. So tune in for that.